Hello guys, welcome back in Goku Manhwa channel. Let's continue. The water monster stood before them with a presence that immediately tightened the air. Its appearance alone was frightening enough to make anyone believe it had the power to kill every person standing there. The man stared at it, unable to wrap his mind around what he was seeing. He questioned what these creatures really were and whether they were even goblins anymore, because nothing about what stood in front of him felt normal. Confusion mixed with fear as he tried to understand how the situation had reached this point. Moments earlier, the chaos had nearly wiped out everyone. Both humans and goblins had almost killed each other in the confusion, their panic feeding the disaster. His voice finally broke through all the noise as he shouted for everyone to stop. The frustration inside him boiled over. He yelled out of anger, overwhelmed by how reckless the goblins had been. Their weakness, their inability to stay focused, and their constant mistakes crushed his patience completely. He felt drained by them, irritated at how easily they lost control. He forced himself forward and declared that today would become a day none of them would ever forget. There was no backing away from what was happening. They were already too deep into it. That was when the Birdman Lord, stepped forward with a confidence that shifted the entire atmosphere. He swung his wings with force, striking the water monster directly across the face. The impact was strong enough to make the massive creature fall to its knees, splashing water as it hit the ground. The water monster roared with fury, threatening to kill him, its voice rumbling with anger. The Birdman Lord looked down on it, unmoved, responding with nothing but cold defiance. He struck again, slashing his wings across the monster a second time, and for a moment, he even enjoyed the dominance he held over the creature. He commented that it looked like he did not even need to step in personally along with his brother, Xiao Qian. With his brother's current strength, the situation should already be under control. As he spoke, he lifted his gaze toward the sky. Dark clouds were gathering above them, and he remembered the rumors. It was said that the Water Demon clan received a powerful boost whenever rain began to fall. He watched the sky carefully, aware that the next moment could change the entire fight. He looked at the sky, trying to convince himself that the weather would hold. The clouds were heavy, but he still hoped it would not rain. The birdman watched the shifting sky with a tightening feeling in his chest, while the water monster pushed himself up again, trying to gather strength after being knocked down. The water monster's eyes glowed with anger as he called out to the crying green demon, demanding to know what it was still waiting for. He kept staring upward as if the sky itself was his answer. On the other side, the wife of the birdman lifted her face to the clouds as well, her expression filled with worry. The wife of the water monster did the same, looking up in fear of what was coming. Then the first drop fell. And another. Within seconds, rain began pouring down, filling the air with a thick, heavy tension. Xion's voice broke through the moment, realizing instantly that this was not good. The birdman's expression shifted, a clear tension tightening across his face. He understood the danger faster than anyone else. Xiao Qian turned to him, and without hesitation, the birdman shouted for him to get his people and retreat. The rain was now steady, and with every drop, the situation worsened rapidly. The birdman knew what this meant. It was raining, truly raining, and this place belonged to the water monster. This was his home turf, the environment that gave him power. The water monster rose to his full height, now looking massively larger in front of the birdman. His presence became overwhelming, angry, and terrifying. The birdman felt a cold helplessness settle in his chest. For the first time, he feared that he might be defeated here. The water monster roared with pure aggression, gathering all of his strength as the rain intensified around him. The energy around him swelled, growing more violent with each passing second. The air trembled, the ground shuddered, and then the water around them collapsed violently, as if responding to the monster's fury. The scene darkened, and the true battle was only beginning. The water monster lunged forward with a sudden burst of rage, throwing a massive punch. As he swung, it looked as if he had grabbed a low-level goblin along the way, using it as part of his attack. The punch slammed straight into Xiao Qian, striking with enough force to shake the entire ground. The impact was so strong that when the monster's fist hit the earth, it created a deep crater beneath them. The water monster stared at the hole with twisted satisfaction. The destruction pleased him. He admired the crater as if it were already Xiao Qian's grave. The idea amused him so much that he laughed, proud of his strength. As he looked at the hole again, a strange sound came from inside it, echoing up from the broken earth. His laughter stopped. He stared at the crater, confused. The sound grew louder, and the ground shifted slightly. Before the monster could react, Xiao Qian erupted upward from underground with a sudden surge of power. He had slipped beneath the ground to survive the blow, and now he rose again, gathering all his strength. He stepped out of the debris with cold control, as if the entire attack had only pushed him to fight harder. He declared that the fun was over and that now it was the monster's turn. Without any hesitation, he delivered a brutal strike that sent the water monster flying backward. The water monster stumbled, shock taking over his expression. As he tried to recover, he felt something strange inside him. His power was fading, eroding, from the inside out. He looked confused and helpless, unable to understand what was happening to his strength. Xiao Qian didn't stop. He moved forward with relentless force, attacking again and throwing the water monster far across the area. The creature tumbled through the air, crashing into the distance with a roar of pain. The water monster glared back, calling Xiao Qian a terrifying bastard. His eyes were sharp with fear and anger. Xiao Qian stood still, calm and focused, his gaze even sharper, ready for whatever came next. The water monster stared at Xiao Qian in disbelief, his voice shaking as he realized the danger he was in. He admitted to himself that Xiao Qian was strong enough to easily break through even the toughest scales on his body. That thought alone filled him with panic. Fear rose inside him so quickly that he didn't even try to hide it. Instead of fighting, he immediately turned and tried to run away from Xiao Qian, terrified of facing him again. He sprinted toward the lake, splashing through the rain, desperate for help. His voice echoed across the water as he called out for the lake ghost, demanding it to show itself and save him. He yelled at the surface of the lake, begging for help, knowing he might die if he faced Xiao Qian directly. In his fear, he believed that even getting torn apart by another monster in the rain would be better than confronting this goblin head-on. Lord Birdman watched with growing anger, his expression hardening as the situation escalated. And then the lake began to ripple violently. From the surface rose the lake ghost, massive, towering, and terrifying. Heavy chains hung across its enormous body, wrapped tightly as if restraining something far worse underneath. Its presence alone changed the atmosphere, making the air feel colder, heavier. Birdman Lord realized instantly that he had underestimated the danger. A sharp regret hit him. He admitted he had been careless, far too careless. He turned to his wife and warned her that they needed to get away. He explained that ghostly beings like this one were unethical by nature. Ethical ghosts were nothing more than wreckage or broken remnants, and the chains on this lake ghost were simply its host body, not its true form. He told her that getting hit even once by its ghostly aura would drain her life force before she could react. His wife immediately understood and agreed that they should get out of there before the situation became fatal. But before she could move, the lake ghost responded as if challenged. It reached toward the fleeing water monster, grabbed his tail, and slammed him into the ground with brutal force. The impact shook the earth, sending waves of water and mud outward. Birdman Lord stared in shock. He could not understand what he was seeing. He questioned whether a weapon, something physical, could actually harm a ghost. The scene in front of him made no sense. The lake ghost had acted with solid force, yet its nature was supposed to be intangible. Everything felt suddenly unstable, as if the rules of the battlefield had shifted.